Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. Today we're going to talk about, which I actually got this idea from you guys actually, which is a great way to do videos. So the question was, which one do I get? Do I get a Trail Boss or do I get a ZR2? We're going to kind of start with the Trail Boss and kind of compare them back and forth a little bit. So if I'm gonna say, if money's no option and you are really debating on which one to kind of lean with, so obviously the Trail Boss is gonna be a little bit cheaper. I'm not 100% sure on the price. I'm gonna put it right here. And obviously the ZR2 is starting out at 48,000. You know, that's with like no add-ons or whatever. Like my ZR2 was, I believe it was just under 52,000 or so, give or take. But it's kind of already optioned out-ish. You know, a little bit more than a Trail Boss. And the Trail Boss has one locker, which is a rear G80 locker. Good locker, but you have zero control over when it actually kicks on. So if you're on the trail and you know, I'm not sure if you know when the because I don't know how the computer system is and how these obviously if one starts spin or one tire starts spinning, it's gonna kick that locker on. But so you have zero control over that, which is nice for street applications. If it's a wet floor or wet road, if you're in the snow, if you or whatever, you're still gonna help get pushed forward. But in a ZR2, you're basically in an open differential, and you have to switch on it unless you're like in four-wheel drive. Or four-wheel drive, it'll kind of lock it, but it's if I can talk, you have the control over on your rear locker and your front locker for the ZR2, which is nice on the off-roading side because you're gonna have more control over your vehicle. I'd rather have control over my vehicle than not have control of it at all, because there's sometimes you really don't want to have that locker on, but then there's sometimes you're gonna want that locker on. And in my personal opinion and my experience from off-roading, from all my Jeeps and whatnot, a rear locker, if you're just going over to get a ZR2 for the front locker, just to say you have a front locker, you really don't need a front locker. If you don't know, a rear locker helps push you over. I mean, if you kind of think of how the tire is going over a rock, it's pushing you over, and how the other one, the front locker, is actually help pulling you. If that makes sense, it's help pulling you over, because your rear locker is going to help you, get on top of that rock. While if you need to turn on that front locker, it's going to help pull you over. Which on the ZR2, or I'm sorry, the Trail Boss, you don't have a front locker; it's straight open, which is not the end of the world. I've wheeled many times in Moab, and I barely ever used my front locker. I've barely ever. And in my Gladiator, I didn't even have a front locker. It was just open all the time, except for when you're in four-wheel drive. I mean, it still helps. It helps you, but not really, especially when you get in that tight spot. And the worst thing about a front locker is you have a hard time turning. If you've never felt, which way, or when you're bind up, I mean, it's super hard, and that's usually when you start breaking stuff in the front end, especially when you start giving a lot of gas. And this is my experience with a Mojave, which is kind of the Gladiator. Mojave's right there, but the thing with the Mojave, this is a Jeep Gladiator, by the way. You have these nice shocks. You had these upgraded shocks. Not a lot of companies really wanted to touch a lift kit for it, so I'm just going off my experience, and it seems like it's not really the case for the ZR2s for the previous generation. You're still able to get some lift kits, but you're kind of limited though. With a ZR or with the Trail Boss, take your standard shocks, throw them right in the trash. You can upgrade those over a ZR2, which has the nicest shocks. So there's going to be more in the aftermarket side for a trail boss, especially if you want to customize it and whatnot. And it's still you can probably almost do a more capable vehicle than the ZR2. But you know, having that front locker and a few other the goodies that it has, like it has the front skid plate, it has, you know, more skid plate protection, and I believe that's true. I'm gonna put down right here because I think it comes with one extra. Well, I guess it really would. It'd be one extra skid plate, when the other ones just have like the trans skid plate and something else, the transfer case and something else. I can't think of it, because I think there's a couple skid plates on there, but the ZR2 has that front mount skid plate and underneath. And if it bothers you, you know, especially if this is going to be your more daily driver, the Trail Boss is coming with an all-terrain tire. The ZR2 is coming with a mud-terrain tire. The mud-terrain tires are going to wear down a lot sooner than an all-terrain tire. So you'll be replacing out your tires a little bit more frequently with a mud-terrain tire aspect of it. But then, you know, you're going to lose a little bit of grip. Depends on really where you're at. If you're on the rocks, the mud-terrain tire actually helps a lot better. But flip side of the thing, if you take out in Moab, those all-terrain tires are better out there because of how sandy and playing on the rocks are. So it really depends on what you want to go with and how much you really want to spend. So, you know, besides having some, you know, extra badging or something that really says, hey, you know, I got a ZR2, and plus the ZR2 is actually lifted a little bit more, so you're coming with a 3-inch lift versus I think it's like basically a 1-inch lift or so, and the size tires are different. You get a 33 with the ZR2, and I think you get basically a 31-ish tire on a Trail Boss. And so, you know, it's kind of what is up, how much you really want to spend and what you want to do. So I think you're getting more money out of the ZR2 than you are with the Trail Boss. But on the flip side, you're gonna have more customization with the Trail Boss over kind of a ZR2, which not really the end of the world. So yeah, it's really what you guys really want to put in, you know, into your trucks. I mean, obviously you're still getting the same motors, like I was saying. You still get the same motor. You still get the 8-speed trans, suspension system. So the Trail Boss actually, speaking of suspension, so the Trail Boss has 9.5 inches of ground clearance. The ZR2 is peaking just under 11 inches. So you're gaining more height, and that also helps with the tires. But one thing nice with the towing wise, for between the two, if you're a tower, would not go with the ZR2. You're gonna lose quite a bit actually. So max tow capacity for the ZR1 and Trail Boss is at 7,700 pounds. That's quite a bit for a mid-size truck. A ZR2, you're only at 6,000 pounds. So you're losing almost 1,700 pounds with the ZR2. So if towing comes into your play, that would make a huge difference, especially if you're towing, you know, your camp, if you have, you know, rooftop tents and you're camping, you're towing like a side-by-side or something like that, and you got to think of the passengers, how many passengers you can fit in. So a ZR2, if you're towing a lot, would not be the way to go. And one thing I would say is, with a ZR2, you do get better headlights. I believe they come standard with LEDs and whatnot. And the Trail Boss, which was kind of weird, and I don't think you can upgrade, to be honest, because I don't think I saw that on their website. So you can leave a comment down below if I'm wrong, or I'm gonna definitely put it right here. Only the one I saw in person for the Trail Boss was just regular bulbs, which 2023, it should almost be a standard, which, you know, LEDs are cheap, and the only good thing about bulbs, if you live in a snowy area, it does help melt out the snow and less out you know, it's not icing up, so it can't see at night. You know, so which one to really go with really depends on your application, what you guys want to do. I plan on really doing a lot of camping and doing a lot of overland, so, and I don't tow a lot. It's basically me, my son, and my fiance, or just me, my son, or basically just me going out with friends. So, and I think the ZR2 for me is a better platform, which they're all both are technically the better platform, but the better way to go. But like I said, if you're towing, don't want to spend as much, you don't care, you know, and you're more of a on-road driver, go with the or go with the Trail Boss. I think because you're still going to be able to really customize it just like a ZR2. But at the flip side, you're going to get probably more aftermarket support, because some companies are not going to want to really touch the shocks, or you're going to get more lift out of the shocks, because companies are going to want to save these shocks because they're good shocks, and they can really care less about your monotube shocks. So that's kind of my little 2 cents. If you're anywhere in the Trail Boss category, go with the Trail Boss. If you're like me, you can care less about certain things. You're gonna wheel it. You're gonna really put it to the test, and you know, and have fun with it, and still be able to customize it. Go with that ZR2. Spend that little extra money. You're gonna get some nicer things and whatnot. So that's my 2 cents. And you know, again, I really wish on these kind of videos I had my studio where I can sit down and have my monitors in front of me instead of kind of going off my phone, and so I can make better content and whatnot. So again, if this is your first time watching any of these videos, my name is Tony. This is kind of my beginning start of my ZR2 build, and I'm kind of you know, documenting my entire way through. So if you wouldn't mind, hit a like, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm one away from having 100 people, which is not really a lot, but I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I'm gonna catch you guys